I use this SICK thermal camera to find faulty components on the logic board or motherboard to fix computers. But there's one problem that I have with this SICK thermal camera. To use this thermal camera, you have to attach it to the phone like this. And I have to use my hand to hold the phone like this and keeping it at a certain distance so the camera can focus on the board and to see the components that I'm trying to work on. If I move it just a little bit, it's gonna be out of focus. This is not something that is easy to do. I have to hold it at the certain distance from the board to the camera so the camera can be in focus. And this is not something that is easy to do, even though I've been using this camera for a while now. I looked up online to see if there's any solution for this problem. And when I try to search for SICK thermal camera holder or SICK thermal camera attachment, this is all I can find. All I can find just this setup that can take more space from my small workstation. As you can see right here, I have very small workstation setup right here. And adding one or two extra stuff on this table is not something that I'm looking for. And I'm thinking, is there a way to attach this SICK thermal camera to my microscope? Because I already have a microscope and this have a control where I can move it up and down to adjust the focus. And also, if I can attach this SICK thermal camera to my microscope, it's gonna be much easier for me to work on the logic boards. And also, I have two free hands instead of one just to keep holding the phone. So I made an attachment like this. That's the phone attached to the thermal camera. What you need is 2 inches corner bracket. You can get it from Lowe's or Home Depot or any home improvement store. Some washers, a screw, that's gonna cost you maybe like $1 or $2. A lightning extension cable, you can get it from Amazon for about $9 or cheaper. Electrical tape, some epoxy, and small zip ties. First, let's mix the epoxy. We just need a tiny bit of epoxy. Let's mix the epoxy. And let's put this one aside. Now let's get your corner brackets. And we're gonna clean it with the alcohol a little bit just to remove any dust or debris on this bracket. Clean it with the alcohol. And then let's get the lightning extension cable and also clean it with the alcohol. Make sure that is clean, no dust and no dirt. And then we're gonna glue this lightning extension cable to the bracket like this. All right, and then we're gonna use the zip tie to help, clamping and securing the glue. All right, so I'm gonna zip tie the cable like this so the cable won't move everywhere. So something like this. Also one more zip tie on the top. All right, so it's gonna look like this. Let's cut this one right here. We don't need this and we don't need this. There you go. All right, and now we're gonna apply or put some epoxy on this side of the bracket. We just need a tiny bit of epoxy, not too much. Maybe a little bit right here. That's it. That's more than enough. And now we're gonna position the lightning cable like this. Alright, you can get something heavy to secure it a little bit. I'm using this 1 kilogram of weight. And I'm gonna cut some electrical tape, maybe about 5-7 inches. Here we go. And now we're gonna tape it. Here we go. There you go. So the lightning cable is glued by the epoxy to the bracket, and we also add some tape to secure the lightning cable into the place. I also added a zip tie right here to secure and to hold this lightning cable into this bracket. See that right here? And we need to cut this one off because we don't need that. Boom. Oh, there you go. Alright, let's wait for a couple hours until the epoxy is fully cured. And then we're gonna attach this one to the microscope. Alright, it's been a couple hours since I put the epoxy to glue the bracket to this lightning cable extension. And now let's continue building this stuff right here. Let's get these 2 washers right here, and we are going to sandwich them to this bracket right here. So let me show you. We put one in the back like this and one in the front. So we are sandwiching this bracket with this washers. And now with the screw, we are going to screw this to the microscope. And there you go. And now we can attach this SIG thermal camera to this port right here. There you go. And then we can attach this end of the cable to the iPhone. And we can put the phone right here by the microscope. So this is how the setup looks, and let's get a logic board and see how it works. Alright, so here's my iPhone attached to the thermal camera with this attachment that we just made. And right here I have a logic board with assorted components. I'm going to inject 1 volt onto this logic board and see if the thermal cam can find the burned or the failed components. And 3, 2, 1, I'm gonna inject the board with 1 volt. There you go. This component right here, right there, is the component that is failed and need to be replaced. Alright, so I'm gonna use a plastic spudger to point to the failed components right here. Alright, I'm gonna keep my spudgers right there and see which component that is failed. Aha! This one right here is the component that is failed and need to be replaced. So there you go. This is something that I just came up like this evening, and I just like, hey, let me make something from whatever I have on my toolbox. There you go. The SIG thermal camera attachment that costs less than $15.